What's up, my dudes? Okay, oh, perfect. 8-drop, Spency boy. So, what we're doing in this video is a comparison between the terrain deformation on the Xbox version. All right, that tire came out of nowhere there, boys. We're doing a comparison between the terrain deformation. I'm going to get killed again, alrighty. Can I even talk? I don't even think I can talk, bro. AI is going to kill me, dude. The AI is savage on Reflex, let me just say that. But so yeah, we're doing a comparison between the Xbox and PC version, the terrain deformation on Reflex. I'm going to run 5 laps on Sandwick. We're on the Xbox version right now, and then we'll go to the PC version because I think this is super important. On some of my previous videos that I've made, you know, I've talked about like, oh, well, you know, I'll talk about how good like the terrain deformation is on Reflex, and like it's like not janky but can get super gnarly, you know what I'm saying? And anytime that I'm talking about anything with Reflex, like talking about this certain thing about terrain deformation, or the physics are like this, or they're really good because of that, I'm always talking about the Xbox 360 version of this game because it's just different than the PC version. And the terrain deformation system is something that you'll notice right away is different between the Xbox version of Reflex and the PC version of Reflex. Like, it's almost night and day difference. I mean, if you don't really play Reflex, you might not notice it like right away. Home Dog is out here trying to take me down, dude. Yeah, there you go, buddy. Little instant karma. Okay. And this might be kind of hard to show in a video. It's kind of like something you got to feel it to know what I'm talking about. But I swear to Pastrana, the Xbox version of Reflex's terrain deformation is more cushiony feeling than the PC version. It doesn't make as much of those weird little random kickers as the PC version's deformation makes. It's just better. Like, literally, the physics of Reflex on the Xbox, the terrain deformation system of Reflex on the Xbox, the snap scrubbing system of Reflex on the Xbox, all of it's just better than it is on PC. I mean, and it's like, you notice it right away when it comes to the terrain deformation, because if you hop on a track, like with the maximum amount of riders with terrain deformation on one of these stock tracks on Reflex, it's going to make that shit a lot more kickery. You're going to be randomly popping off a lot more than you would on the Xbox version. So I just wanted to kind of clarify that. Like, anytime I'm talking about like, well, on the Xbox, you know, version of Reflex, it's like this or it's like that. It's kind of like, I feel like a lot of y'all boys don't even experience that, or it's been so long since you have experienced that, because most guys just have, you know, Reflex on Steam on PC now. Spency boy tossing her backwards. Okay. Most people just don't experience it, and I guess they just think it's like the same thing. Villapoto, what are you doing, bro? You know, I feel like it's real easy for people to think that, like, oh, I'll just get Reflex on PC. It'll be the exact same Reflex from back in the day, and they haven't played the old Reflex on the Xbox in a really long time. So what happens is they'll get, you know, Reflex on PC, and their brain will get tricked up into thinking that's exactly how everything was on the Xbox version of the game. And I'm just out here to keep proving to y'all boys that's not the case. That's not true. And more particularly, it's the fact that everything feels better on the Xbox version of this game than it does on the PC version. We'll go check out we'll do 5 laps on Sandwick on the PC version right after this, and I'll kind of show you a little bit of a comparison. Even me whipping like that right there, you see how I fucking toss that all the way over and up under the bike on like a really small jump? You can't do that. You can't snap scrub on the PC version like you can on the Xbox version. No way. And like when the deformation starts getting gnarly, it feels to me like on the Xbox version, if you hit like a really rough spot or you hit like a, you know, a kickered part of the terrain, it's like on the Xbox version, a lot of times you have that slight little moment to like save yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like the bike will start bouncing crazy out of shape, but you have that little millisecond to actually save it. Whereas like on the PC version, a lot of times you're just instantly going to pop off, which makes a big difference whenever I'm comparing to like Legends terrain deformation on those throwback, you know, reflex tracks. When I talk about like, you know, that's too rigid, you pop off too much instantly on that. Well, if you were to just go ride on the PC version of Reflex, you might think that I'm just bullshitting you, or I'm not even really like explaining, you know, the deformation of Reflex properly. But the truth is, if you actually go back to the 360 Xbox version of this game, I think you can actually play it on like the newer Xboxes too. I haven't really tried that out yet before, but I'm just saying, anytime I'm saying anything about Reflex, I'm talking about the OG original Xbox version, the shit that this game was actually made for. I don't know what the hell they did with that PC port, but she just ain't quite the same, bro. And the terrain deformation is a major element of that is not quite the same, bro. It's just not. I mean, they're like, especially on the PC version, it starts making kickers on those Supercross tracks where you start hitting jumps. You can start hitting bigger jumps that you wouldn't even normally hit. It doesn't really do that on the Xbox's terrain deformation. For some reason, I don't know why that would even be like a different thing, but for some reason, it's like it makes it like 10% more cushiony and 10% less kickery on the deformation on the Xbox version versus the PC version. Don't ask me why. I have no idea why. I just have to come in here and explain it. Every once in a while, you'll still crash on the, like on Sandwick, for instance, on the deformation on the 360. It's not like you'll just never crash on it, but I'm just saying it feels a lot less janky to me on the Xbox version versus the PC version. And yeah, with the, you know, if you go back and play the Xbox version, you are going to have to deal with the lower frame rate for a minute. Like if you're real used to running it like 60 or 144 on PC, it is going to feel a little weird at first. But honestly, like once I ride 5 or 6 laps on the Xbox version, I get used to that lower frame rate again. Like it's not that big of a deal. At least for me, it's just not that big of a deal. But when I get back on that Xbox version of Reflex, it's like, oh yeah, this is how I remember the deformation feeling on Reflex. This is how I remember the momentum system of the game feeling. This is how I remember the scrub system of the game feeling. This is how I remember everything of Reflex feeling. It's like the PC version of Reflex is just like 10% different with basically everything. The momentum system, the physics system, the scrub system, the terrain deformation system, all of it is like 10% different on the PC port version versus the original Xbox version. Okay, so here we are on the PC version of Sandwick, and of course, everything's gonna look a lot better in video form on the PC version because you're getting a higher frame rate. You know, it is going to look better visually, but that's kind of the whole point in this video right here. It's like, it's the feeling of Reflex on an Xbox is better than the feeling of Reflex on PC. It looks better on PC, you're going to have better frame rate on PC, but the terrain deformation, the scrubbing system of the game, the momentum system of the game, all those things gameplay-wise, it feels better on the Xbox version of this game. I'm just telling you right now, bro. So hard for people to understand that because it's confusing that it would even be that much different from game to game, you know what I'm saying? But that's what happens though. Guys will hop on the PC version, they'll buy Reflex on Steam, you know, and they'll have that higher frame rate, and they'll have that better graphical look and that higher frame rate, and for a lot of guys, that's all they fucking need. They'll totally, you know, completely abandon the actual true version of Reflex, aka the Xbox version of Reflex. They'll just totally forget about it ever existing. But I'm not going to forget about it, because I think any real motocross gaming fan, you're doing yourself a real disservice if you just have never played the Xbox version of Reflex, or you never go back and play the Xbox version of Reflex. One of those two things, you're doing yourself a major disservice, because that is still the greatest actual feeling in an arcade dirt bike game that you can possibly have. It's the greatest. It's the best. See, I'm already getting kicked off the track. You see that right there? I'm not even on lap 2 yet, and I'm getting like fucking ricocheted and bounced around on the track. Like, it just doesn't do that as much on the Xbox version's terrain deformation system. It just doesn't. Like, I don't know. I don't know any other way to explain it, boys, but like some of those Supercross tracks, you'll really notice it, like going from the Xbox version to the PC version, because you'll literally be getting kickered up on the jump faces on the PC version to the point where you're going to be hitting rhythms that you've never even hit before. Like, and then you'll go to the 360 version and it's a little bit more like mellowed out, a little bit more cushiony of a deformation system to where you won't be hitting those crazy ass jump rhythms. It won't be kickering you up like crazy on the Xbox version like it does on the PC version. You see what I'm saying? So, I don't know, man. For me, it's a different game. Like, it's the same game, but it's a different game when you go from the Xbox version to the PC version. And a lot of guys have kind of tried to blame that on the frame rate, but, like, having more of a frame rate on the fucking PC version is not going to make you scrub less. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to make it like there's all kinds of differences, bro. It's not like the frame rate difference is the only factor that's tricking you into thinking that the PC version is, you know, different than the Xbox version. It's like, bro, no. They are literally different to the core. They're different feeling games. It doesn't feel like you're going as fast on the PC version as you are on the 360 version. Like the momentum feeling of the game feels different. You can snap scrub. Snap scrubbing doesn't even really exist on the PC version of this game. Like, damn near the whole mechanic of the actual, you know, next level version of scrubbing in the game doesn't even really exist on the PC version. Whereas, like, the 360 version, truly snap scrubbing is like a whole different animal. It's a whole different ass animal. The whip glitching is way more of a thing on the PC version than the Xbox version. That's just like a fact right out the gate. But it's the momentum feeling of the physics, though, man. Like, that's such a weird element to me. But I swear to God, there's like 10 to 20% more of a top speed momentum feeling on that 360 version than what you get right here on this PC version. It is bizarre. It is weird. I don't understand it. I don't know what the deal is with that, but I'm probably going to make a lot more videos on this particular subject, like comparing the PC version to the Xbox version of Reflex. You know, Spency boy, I got to keep fucking driving this thing home, you know, because I don't think a lot of people realize it. I've made a couple videos on this kind of sort of deal in the past, but again, it's hard to tell with the naked eye, just like taking a glance at it, but that's the real problem. It's hard to tell just by seeing video footage, just by looking at it. It's a feeling thing. It's, you know, snap scrubbing is a feeling thing. Like that higher momentum feeling on the Xbox version, it's a feeling thing. It's very hard to tell when you're just looking at videos or you're just looking at somebody playing the game, you know. But like even that rut in that corner, it's not developing the same that it would on the Xbox version. Literally, the Xbox version makes more of an actual sand, bigger like sand berm style rut, whereas this is just making more cluttery deformation. The PC version to me feels like it makes more cluttery deformation, but more kickery deformation. It's like more cluttery, more janky, more kickery on the PC version, whereas the Xbox version, that feels like the actual what the deformation was supposed to feel like on Reflex. Do you see what I'm saying? Same way with the scrub system, same way with the momentum system, same way with the whip glitch system. All of that feels like when you're playing the Xbox version, that's more so what it was actually supposed to feel like in the game. Do you know what I'm saying? Whereas when you go to the PC version, that more feels like a slightly changed version of what Reflex was supposed to feel like, or what it was supposed to be like. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of the vibe that I get from it, right? And again, look at this right here. Look at that. See that? Look at that deformation. See how that's literally like spiked out? Like literally comes to a total point on the shit. It does not do that on the Xbox version. It straight up does not come to an actual full-blown triangled out point on the Xbox version of this game. It does not do that. So, whenever I say things like when I'm comparing the deformation of Reflex and Legends, don't jump in here on the PC version of Reflex and be like, what the fuck, Spence, you're wrong, bro. This deformation gets super triangled out and super degenerated just like anything else does. Well, it doesn't do that on the Xbox version. It didn't create completely peaked out triangles with any of that deformation when I was just on that Xbox version of this game. I'm just telling you right now, it did not do that. So that is a certain element that is like the PC version of Reflex exclusive. It's exclusive to that. It's not like that on the Xbox version. That's the whole point of this video. I just want to keep reiterating that the Xbox and the PC version of Reflex are two different animals. They're two different kind of things with everything, but especially the terrain deformation. So just something to keep in mind, boys. I'll be doing some more of these comparison videos on a bunch of the other tracks in the game to give you guys a better idea of it, but I hope I kind of proved it to you somewhat, showed it to you somewhat here. So either way, big dogs, y'all keep on sipping that tea. You know what it is. Spency Boy be back.